Hello, and welcome to Brilliant Minds, the show where we tell the incredible true stories of people who changed the world. Today, we're talking about a man who made computers cool, put a phone in everyone's pocket, and dreamed of making technology simple and beautiful. He also started what is now the most valuable company in the world called Apple, which is worth over $2 trillion. Yes, that's trillion. His name was Steve Jobs. Chapter 1. The Boy with Big Ideas. Steve Jobs was born on February 24th, 1955, in California, USA. But did you know? He was adopted as a baby. A kind couple named Paul and Clara Jobs took him in and raised him like their own. Steve's dad was a mechanic, and from a young age, Steve loved taking things apart to see how they worked. Radios, televisions, even kitchen appliances. If it had buttons, Steve wanted to know what was inside. One day, Steve's dad took him to the garage and showed him how to build a computer from scratch. Little did they know, this would be the start of something huge. At school, Steve was super smart, but he wasn't always the best student. He got bored easily and sometimes played pranks on his teachers. But one teacher noticed his talent and encouraged him to think big. And thinking big, that was something Steve Jobs would do for the rest of his life. Chapter 2. The Garage That Built a Tech Empire. As Steve grew older, he met a friend who was just as interested in computers as he was. His name was Steve Wozniak, but everyone called him Woz. Woz was a computer genius, and together, he and Steve had a dream: to make computers that anyone could use. Back then, computers were huge, expensive, and only used by scientists. Steve believed they should be simple, stylish, and fit on a desk. So, in 1976, in a tiny garage, the two Steves started a company called Apple. And guess what? Their first computer was built on a piece of wood with a screen and a keyboard stuck on top. They called it the Apple I. It wasn't perfect, but Steve had something special. He knew how to make people excited about computers. Instead of just selling them, he told stories about how they could change lives. And people listened. Soon, Apple was growing fast. They created the Apple II, and before long, Steve was one of the youngest millionaires in the world. Not bad for a guy who started in a garage, right? Chapter 3. The Big Fall. But life isn't always easy, even for geniuses. As Apple grew, some people thought Steve's ideas were too crazy. He was a perfectionist. He wanted Apple products to be the best in the world, and he didn't accept anything less. Eventually, the people in charge of Apple decided he was too difficult to work with. And in 1985, something unbelievable happened. Steve Jobs was fired from his own company, can you imagine? Apple was his baby, and now he wasn't allowed to be part of it. For most people, that would be the end of the story. But for Steve, it was just the beginning. Chapter 4. Comeback King. Instead of giving up, Steve started a new company called Next. He also helped another small company called Pixar. Yes, that Pixar, the one that made Toy Story, Finding Nemo, Up, Monsters, Inc., Inside Out, and loads more. Meanwhile, Apple wasn't doing so well without Steve. So in 1997, something amazing happened. Apple asked him to come back. And this time, Steve had a huge idea. What if a computer wasn't just a gray, boring box? What if it was colorful, fun? What if it could fit in your pocket? Under Steve's leadership, Apple made the iMac, iPod, iPhone, and iPad, things we use every single day. And just like that, he changed the world. Chapter 5. Think Different. Steve Jobs became one of the most famous inventors in history. He didn't just build computers, he built a way of thinking. His motto, think different. He taught people that you don't have to follow the rules, that the people who change the world are the ones who dare to be different. Steve passed away in 2011, but his ideas still shape the world today. Every time you pick up a phone, watch a movie on Pixar, or use a computer, you're using something he helped create. Pretty cool, right? That's it for today's episode of Brilliant Minds. What do you think? Would you like to invent something amazing like Steve Jobs? Thanks for listening, and remember, think big, dream bigger, and always think different. See you next time.